Hello, welcome to the Minority Reports podcast and digital series. I'm your host, Mona Sheikh. We have a really amazing guest today. She really fascinated me because you just never see. She's of my background, so she's a fellow brownie. She's a fellow South Asian, and this person just really fascinated me. She's the only South Asian woman who has traveled to every single country in the world. Welcome, Melissa Roy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God. I read your story through a mutual friend of ours, Sarush, who is also based in New York. And he posted your story. He's like, "Oh, good job, Melissa." And I was like, "Wait, who is this Melissa chick? I must chat with her." So here you are. So can you just kind of walk us a little bit quickly? I know you were an actress at one point, and you kind of still are. And I just kind of want to, I want to know, and also the audience would love to know, what kind of brought about this love for traveling the world.
Yeah, so I grew up, born and raised in the Midwest. I'm actually in Michigan right now. I was born in Michigan and grew up in Indiana. And then I just was desperate to get out of there.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I've been there.
Yeah. So I moved west to Los Angeles to go to college. I went to Pepperdine University. And while I was there, my agenda the whole time, although Indian parents don't accept it, was to go into acting. So I thought if I can inch my way to Malibu, then I can go to Hollywood on the weekends and then, try my hand at acting. So I started doing that. They filmed Zoe 101, a Nickelodeon show, on our campus, actually. So my freshman year in college, I walked over to base camp and I asked them if they would hire me as an extra. And they did, and that kind of started my love of, acting in the entertainment industry. And then slowly from that, I started doing commercials because I realized that was a quicker turnaround. Yeah. And I would get paid a lot more from the residuals, and then I could just, take off and travel if I wanted. Right. So then slowly I started traveling more, and then the acting became less and less. But I still want to go back and do it.
So I think it's one thing to convince South Asian parents to, if you want to be an artist. And that's from my personal experience. Like, my family did not speak to me for 8 years because I chose to be in the entertainment profession. This is an absolutely true story. My family, completely, it was just like, no way, no fucking way are you going to become an artist. Like, I remember my oldest brother. I have four older brothers. I'm the youngest and the only girl in the family. And I remember my oldest brother specifically that girls from good families do not become artists, period. Basically, he was saying, I'm going to be a little slut if I become an artist. He's right about that. I'm just kidding. People are going to take that to heart here. It's okay. Sluts are popular. Just look at the Kardashians. But listen, making billions of dollars. God bless this. Get it. But how do you convince South Asian parents? It's one thing to be like, hey, I want to, become an artist. But it's another, I'm going to go travel the world, even the dangerous parts of the world. How do you convince South Asian parents that? Did they try to be like, yeah, why don't you get married first and then you can do whatever the hell you want?
Well, I have a kind of a different story because I didn't have two parents like most South Asians have. My parents got divorced when I was really young. So it was just a single mom raising me, and I kind of did whatever I wanted, and I just asked for forgiveness instead of permission most of the time. But honestly, I think the acting was more of a disappointment to them than traveling. Like my uncles on my dad's side, my kakus, they were very unsupportive of me acting, and I did some Indian calendars and things like that, modeling, and they were born and raised in Bangladesh, so they were very offended by that, and yeah, it was horrible.
What were you in a bikini or bathing suit? Why are they offended?
Nothing more risque than a bikini and lingerie, but the lingerie was just the same size as a bikini would have been, so nothing worse than that.
What? Why do
Yeah.
men of our culture feel so entitled to our bodies? What is that about, Melissa? What do you think?
Yeah, it's really sad. And I mean, I was just exploring myself and my career and everything. Like, I don't know, I wanted to learn lessons for myself. Like, now at this age or like at this point in my life, would I do modeling shoots like that? Probably not, but I don't regret anything I did.
Right,
I
of
need to
course.
learn things for myself.
Right, because that was your kind of process of becoming who you are. So you come to L.A. and then you go to Pepperdine, which is an interesting choice because Pepperdine is it's a pretty conservative Christian university, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Church of Christ, which is a very, very conservative denomination within Christianity. So they don't allow music in their worship services. It's a cappella only
Wow,
because music is considered devil's worship.
wow, wow.
Yeah, and you had to
Do
go
they
to
know that they're in Los Angeles, like the entertainment hub? Do they know that?
But it was interesting because I think it made me well rounded. I mean, I'm still very much non religious, but I feel like I can be a chameleon and I can go to church, I can go to a mosque, I can go to a temple or a gurdwara and feel very respectful to them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, exactly. I mean, and you had the opportunity to do that by kind of traveling the world and having that access. But so you go to Pepperdine. So did they know that you were Hindu when you they were, or they just did they reject your application? You crossed it off and put down Christian, so they let you in.
Well, I do feel kind of guilty because I kind of like told little white lies. Well, actually, I don't even know if it was a white lie
Hi, I'm
because
Christian. Is that what you said? That was
well,
not a
I was
lie.
kind of confused myself what I was because I grew up Hindu, but then I grew up going with my mom to church with a lot of her like waspy friends.
Got
So
it.
I went to church way more than I went to the temple. So in my admissions essay, I wrote that I was like partly Christian and trying to find myself and find my faith. And I kind of used it to my advantage. But that's what admissions essays are for. You're supposed to try to convince them to
I
let you.
I like the fact that you said that you're partially Christian and you're looking for yourself because that's usually why a lot of Americans go to India to find their souls. But you came to Pepperdine as an Indian person or a South Asian person to find yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of like reverse role reversal.
It's total. You're like you're hiding Hindu souls at Pepperdine University, and I must find it.
I've never thought about it like that, but you're right.
And did you find your Hindu soul at Pepperdine?
No, I just found that I don't want to be part of any organized religion, to be honest. Like I think
I don't
spiritual
blame you.
should be an individual thing. It shouldn't be like for the masses.
Right. I agree. Absolutely 100%. So now you traveled the world, and I saw you went to Afghanistan.
Yes.
What was
hmm
that like? Talk to me about what was that like.
Afghanistan was life changing. Like it was so surprising because I know most of the world is afraid of Afghanistan. Just like saying the word and saying that you're there, it feels almost like wrong to be there, and that's what made it so nice. Like I wanted to break all these stereotypes and show how nice Afghani people really are, and they were literally the warmest, kindest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And it was like the military presence was very heavy, so I could see why that would make people uncomfortable, but I didn't have any bad experiences. It was one of the most memorable parts of my trip.
Did you have to be? Of course, you had to dress more conservatively, correct? You had to like cover your hair and stuff like that.
Yeah, but not more than any other Islamic country, really.
Yeah. Well,
Only for the mosques when you were going like inside or outside a mosque, but walking around, I didn't really have to.
what about so you've clearly been to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, same thing with Saudi Arabia. I went at a time that where it's opening up so much more, so I didn't have to wear a hijab at all.
Oh wow,
Like,
right, because they've been the new King Salman, right? Is that his name? MSB.
I believe so, but yeah, they just changed the visa regulation. So before you, as a woman, you would have to either do the like the Hajj visa if you're doing the pilgrimage,
Yeah.
or be sponsored by a male chaperone, or go on a business visa. Like you couldn't just go as a woman tourist.
Right,
But now
because, you know.
it's an 5-minute visa,
Oh, wow. And so when you show up and you're not wearing the hijab and you're where did you go? Jeddah?
I went to both Jeddah and Riyadh.
And what was your experience like as, you know, I guess a non-Muslim woman? You're like walking around with no hijab and stuff. How are you being perceived? How are you being treated? What are people's reactions?
Well, I didn't. I was generally with my couch surfing host, so I always have a local host wherever I go, traveling, walking around the city with them.
Yeah.
I don't know why the light went off.
That's usually what happens. That's why you don't need to be in Michigan.
Okay, there we go.
There it is. I think it's the clap on light. You have to clap.
Clap on.
Clap on, clap off.
So yeah, walking around with my host, and I never felt like I've never been harassed or had males, give me unwanted attention or catcalls when I'm traveling. Like I've had that happen in the U.S., but like everybody asks me as a solo female traveler if that's something I experience, and I actually never do.
Yeah. I mean, I purposely walk by construction sites just to get compliments at this age. And the compliments are going down, tell you that much. It's getting rough out there. Being in your 30s ain't fun. Tell you that much.
I know what you mean. Like, I never get asked for my number or anything. I'll sit at bars looking pretty with a cocktail in my hand and no numbers.
Did you have cocktails in Saudi Arabia?
No, not in Saudi Arabia.
I was like, I don't think they're having cocktails in Saudi Arabia. That's not how they roll there.
But we did have some drinks and stuff in countries that we weren't supposed to, so that's all I'm going to say.
Got it. But, I mean, look, even in the forbidden countries, there's a lot of, stuff that kind of slips through and people get to do whatever the hell they want. I actually performed the Holy Pilgrimage when I was 11 years old, and that was a fascinating experience for me because part of the pilgrimage, I don't know if you know this, but part of the pilgrimage is also going to Medina, which is where Prophet Muhammad was. I don't know if you know the story of that, but Prophet Muhammad is buried there. So when we I was with my mom and my oldest brother. And one day my mom was like, we're just going to explore the city today. And I was like, awesome. I'm 11. I have really long hair back then. And I wash my hair. I don't wear the hijab. And then we step out and this shurta, the cops there, the local cops, they're apparently morality cops. And he walked up to me and he wouldn't even look at me or speak to me or my mom. He looked at my brother because he's a male and said, "Where's her hijab?" And my brother was like, "She's 11. Like, she's a baby. Her hair is wet. She's just drying her hair." And he turns to my brother and he says, he pulls his stick out and he goes, "Tell her to go back and put the hijab on or I'm going to beat her right here in the street." And I'll never forget that. And that was like really bizarre to me. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going back. I'm like, not going back. Yeah, so my experience is a little bit more traumatic than yours.
Yeah, I mean, they have been conservative up until this point. I heard it was just like an overnight difference. Now they're trying to put on kind of like a front to attract more tourists.
That's right.
Because of the whole, I don't know, the thing at the embassy.
Oh, yeah, the little chopping of Jamal Khashoggi, what they did.
Okay, the journalist, yeah. So now they're trying really hard to, do some PR repair and
they're trying to put the pieces back together.
Yeah,
that's a terrible joke. Because that's what they did to Jamal Khashoggi. They cut him up in tiny little pieces and brought his body back. So, yeah, I don't know how the fuck they're getting away with it, but they actually are, and it's disgusting. Not a fan of MBS. I actually made a video that got banned in Saudi Arabia and in Pakistan, so must be doing something right. Yeah, I made a video about why they ban women to drive, why women aren't allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia, and one of their arguments is that when women drive, the driving machinery affects their ovaries, so they won't be able to reproduce. True story.
What?
True story.
Wow.
Yeah. So I made a
Really?
video saying that if it does that to women, wouldn't it affect a man's balls if he's driving the machinery? And then I was like, oh, I'm sorry, they don't have any. Um, and then all hell broke loose.
Oh my gosh.
So there's
Well,
that.
now finally women are allowed to drive there, which I mean, it should have been way long before that, but
I mean, how strange is that headline? 2019, women are allowed to drive. Like, what are they getting next? Like CD players? What's next for them? Are they just catching up on technology? What?
they're like a whole century behind.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. It's pretty nuts. I have a lot of beef with the Saudi government. I really do. Not with the Saudi people, but with the
Yeah,
Saudi
the
government.
people, they kind of redeemed the government.
Yeah, I mean, I just have a lot of beef with the Saudi government. But tell me about what was it like in Mauritius and Seychelles, because I was supposed to be in Seychelles performing for a prince, believe it or not.
For a Saudi prince?
I don't know what kind of prince he was. I think he was a Saudi prince. Yes.
Mauritius was amazing. I did a lot of diving there. Seychelles, unfortunately, I wasn't there very long because Air Seychelles kind of messed up the flight schedule, and then I had to cut my trip really short.
Oh,
But yeah, Seychelles is like a big archipelago of many islands, and Mauritius is just one pretty big island. It looks small, but it takes a long time to drive all the way around.
interesting. So what is it like? You cover the whole island, what, like in a day, if that?
I didn't even cover the whole island. You kind of just like choose one part of the island, and you could spend several days in just one, like the north part of the island, or so that the north part had the best diving, so I stayed there.
So I have a question. It might be a bit of a personal question, but so feel free to ignore it if you want or answer it. You mentioned that you grew up with your parents got divorced early on when you were a kid. Do you feel like that maybe pain or trauma had something to do with kind of motivating you as an adult to go and travel and see the world? I don't know if I would call it a form of escape, but it's a form of just kind of exploring and just kind of getting away from maybe what you grew up with.
I mean, I would absolutely call it a form of escape. Yeah, I had a difficult childhood, and I wasn't, hiding the fact that I wanted to get away all the time. Like, I hated coming home.
Yeah.
Even if I was at a friend's house or something, I wouldn't want to come back at night. I would just want to stay. And
And
then I'm the same way now when I travel. I'm always sad and melancholic when it's the end of the trip and I have to come back home.
wow.
Like, I get homesick, but I always get sad when I have to come home.
And also, I've been in therapy for like 13 years, and it's like single handedly saved my life. Have you been to therapy or for any of the trauma that you experienced growing up, or what's that like for you?
Yes, I have actually, and I actually majored in psychology. So
Oh,
I have my bachelor's degree in psychology. So I'm constantly, giving therapy to myself and analyzing every single behavior and thing that I do.
and so were you supposed to become a psychotherapist, or and then just kind of were like, I'm going to go explore the
Mm,
world?
No, I actually never wanted to go into therapy or become a psychologist. I just wanted to do a degree that would apply generally to anything in life. And psychology works for acting, it works for traveling, it just helps with your interpersonal relationships. So I think it's great.
I love it. I want to like just briefly kind of talk about. I know that in the South Asian and even in the Middle Eastern culture, like mental health is not a forefront topic, which I really believe that it should be. I know in the West now it's becoming such a forefront topic. You have so many, bigger established celebrities like Lady Gaga coming out and talking about her fight with depression and anxiety, and I believe she suffers from fibromyalgia, if I'm not mistaken. Which is such a fantastic conversation. Do you feel like therapy has helped you, or become kind of the person that you are today? And B, do you feel like is there enough conversation happening, or the stigma is maybe slowly going away in the South Asian community when it comes to mental health?
Ooh, I don't think the stigma is going away, it's not as fast as it should be. I think there's definitely still a stigma there, and I have mental illness in my family. I don't want to like give too many specifics, but it's pretty severe and it's impaired a lot of things for me. And uh, yeah, we're just like trying to work through that as a
Sure.
family, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. I have family members who are bipolar, they're schizophrenic, and there's a lot of shame attached to it, and I really hope that as time goes by, so much of that stigma is going to go down, and because in our community, in Desi community, it's just like you're either crazy or normal. There's like no middle ground. You're like either crazy or normal. It's just like you do understand life is not black and white. Like there are many shades of gray.
Exactly. And yeah, I have schizophrenia in my family, and it like destroys lives. And there needs to be a conversation about it. It shouldn't be swept under the rug. Like I think people should just be going to see a counselor on a regular basis for prevention. Like if we have preventative physical health, why not have preventative mental health? This just
100%. For me, most of the time when I go to my therapist, it's also to try out new material before I take it out on stage. So if I can just run it by her, so I'm just like, bitch, I'm paying you, aren't I? Let me just run these jokes by you. Sometimes she stops me. She's like, "Are you doing a bit right now?" And I'm like, "Maybe." I'm like, "Are you questioning me? I'm paying you. Just shut up and take it. You're getting free entertainment. Stop whining about it." You know, I'm a big fan of therapy. I'm a big, huge advocate of therapy. I recommend everybody should go, especially if you've grown up in a South Asian environment. You should absolutely be going to therapy.
exactly.
I think the people who stigmatize therapy the most are the people who need it the most.
Yes, that's a good point.
So now,
Is it
what?
too dark in here? Sorry, it looks like it's. Let me just
It's
turn the.
no, you're fine. I can see your face. You're fine.
Yeah, I can't hardly see anything. It's like really dark.
Oh, really?
Let
I
me see.
I do look a lot lighter than you do, and it's not fair and lovely. Tell you that much. Oh,
Um,
there you
is that?
are. Yeah, it is. I can see you.
I think because the sun went
Oh yeah,
down,
that
so
looks good. Yeah, you look shiny, Melissa. You look shinier than before. So talk to me about what your acting career. Have you done? What kind of commercials have you done?
So I've done several different commercials, but I think the most notable one is the Capital One Venture Card
Oh, nice.
commercial. Alec Baldwin. Yeah, back when he was doing those commercials, and I was in the one where I filed his nails on a plane.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I think I've seen that one. Ah,
yeah.
that's you. I love it.
So I think it's cool. Like at that time, I didn't really think of it as much, but now looking back, like even my commercials are travel related. So
That's
that
right.
was
It was almost
coincidence.
like the universe sending you a message. Did
Exactly. And
Capital One money, did that commercial money like help pay for some of that travel?
absolutely. So that was one of the biggest contributors to my travel funds. And I actually used a Capital One Venture card for many years before I booked that commercial. So I was like, not even acting. It was like, I don't know. I was endorsing something that I already used
That
because
was
I'm
destiny
good
right there.
with points and miles and like getting free award flights and stuff like that. That's my thing.
I love all of it. Now, what is your relationship like with your parents now? If like your I guess your parents have been divorced for a while, and do you have siblings? Are you an only child?
I'm an only child, and actually, my dad passed away many years ago,
Oh, I'm sorry.
15, 16 years ago. So it's just been my mom and me. That's the only people in my immediate family.
So when you tell your mom, "I'm gonna go travel the world," what does your mom say?
Now she's 100% on board with it because she knows that you can literally like drop me in with a helicopter in any country, even if it's a war torn country, and I will find a way to survive.
That
Like
that
I will do my best. I feel like I can get by in any country with any language, and
did you
yeah,
did
that's
you
a good.
learn any other language? Like what do you speak more languages than English, or what do you speak?
I speak fluent Bengali. I think that was actually my first language, or this at the same time as English. And then I learned Spanish in college.
That's awesome. And so
Yeah.
you're fluent in Spanish, I'm thinking.
I would say conversational. I haven't spoken it in a long time, so I'm kind of rusty.
What
But I also,
when you went to South America, you must have had the opportunity to use it quite a bit. Oh,
yeah. But I actually studied abroad in Buenos Aires, Argentina, for
ah,
1 year. So that helped me learn it a lot too.
that's very nice. I've heard about Argentinians that they're really beautiful people. I've seen them; they're like pretty gorgeous. What? So what happens when you like travel to all these amazing countries? Do you have like dudes like hitting on you, asking you out on dates? Like, how does that work? How are you?
Um,
Are you single now, or what's the deal?
oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking about this. Yes, I am single, and yes, Valentine's Day is a few hours away, but
Don't even remind me. I hate fucking Valentine's Day. Fuck Valentine's Day. I'm sorry.
yeah, anti Valentine's Day right here. Cheers to
Yeah,
that.
cheers. Cheers. Drinking water over here.
Drinking water to anti
I
Valentine's.
hate Valentine's Day. It drives me crazy. So you're saying so now you go to all these different countries and then dudes are like straight up like, "What's up? You're only here for a day or two. How about I give you a little taste of my country?"
Oh my goodness. No, like I think guys have been so respectful and I should be very happy about that. But sometimes I'm like, why can't you pursue me a little more? Like why are you so shy or why are you so gentlemanly? But I guess most girls would kill me for saying that, right?
Yeah.
Because with the whole hashtag Me Too movement, like dudes are supposed to back off. So it's almost like guys don't know what the barrier is and they try too hard to not be accused of sexual harassment. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm all about, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. So you're saying like you're traveling to all these places and the dudes are not approaching you?
No, not at all.
What's going on? Do you have like a fuck you written on your forehead? What's going on, Melissa?
Well, okay, do you mean local dudes or like other travelers or what?
All of it.
Well, I usually stay with couch surfers, and most people ask me, "Oh my gosh, isn't it scary, like staying at a stranger's house? What if they come on to you?" But they're very, very respectful,
You're like,
and
I'm looking forward to it. Hello.
at like at the most, they'll like kind of hint that they are interested in me, and if I'm not, then they back off.
Got
So
it. So
yeah,
it's not just a couch. Then we don't want it to turn into a casting couch.
exactly. But every once in a while, there is some kind of mutual interest, and it always ends in tears because I'm leaving and they know it, and and then we don't want to get too attached, but that's hard to control.
Well, yeah, but you can always like bring them to America and turn them into
Mm,
U.S. citizen, that kind of thing. No,
that's too complicated. Never worked.
not your jam.
I dated an Australian guy for a while. The long distance thing doesn't work.
Long distance sucks. So why didn't you just bring him from Australia? It's only a 10-hour flight.
Yeah, but you can't expect them to like uproot their lives and like
Why
quit
not?
their job.
Women do it all the time. We quit our lives and like, I dated this guy in New York. He was half Indian, half white, lovely human being, friends with him to this day. He wanted me to move to India with him for a while and I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I adore you, but fuck no. I am not. First of all, they're not even going to let me in. I'm Pakistani. So there's that whole thing. Second, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna work as a backup dancer, item girl? Like what am I gonna do? That's not gonna work out. For those people listening, wondering what the fuck an item girl is, an item girl is the one who comes on and does the raunchy dancing in the Bollywood dance numbers. She's the the chick who comes out and flashes her titties and
Oh
shakes
my
her
god.
ass on camera and gets paid a shit ton of money. And God bless for those girls, because what would the world be without titties being flashed? The world
You were
needs.
the main girl, like Madhuri Dixit, right? I read that she's your favorite actress.
Madhuri is
Oh,
so my favorite. Madhuri is the reason I became a performer. She is a goddess. I adore her. I worship her. I don't remember Madhuri being an item girl. The first time I saw Madhuri was in this movie called Tezab. Tezab translates to acid. That's what Tezab means. And I remember watching her and just being like, who is this? What is she doing? I want to do that. And I just adore her. So, yes. So, oh, wow. Look at you doing some due diligence on me.
Well, I also like her. I love. Wasn't she in? Was it Devdas or Dal
She's in
or
Devdas. She's not in Tal. She's in Devdas.
with Aishwarya?
With Ashwarya, yeah, she's. I would, to me, she's literally the best living dancer that ever came out of Bollywood, like ever.
What do you think about Aishwarya Rai?
I don't think about Aishwarya Rai like at all. Not. She's all right, she does the best she can. She's pretty, and like that's about it. But she's nice to look at, I just don't want her to talk, so I just put her on mute when she starts talking. But I like her. Otherwise, I'm.
There's a big problem with the whole skin tone issue, and Bollywood just perpetuates it because there are no regular Indian-looking people. They all look like they came from another planet.
That's
all
right.
The actresses, and Aishwarya is just another example of that. Like blue eyes, whitish skin, and it's just like, wow. And they're selling so much skin bleaching products and stuff, and it's just sad.
Well, they just passed a law in India that if you sell, I think, skin bleaching products or kind of portray or try to demean somebody with a darker skin, you go to jail. Like you have to pay a fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're getting pretty like hardcore. They're getting very hardcore about being a brownie. Yeah. But
have you seen the movie Chapbook?
Checkbook?
Chapbook with Deepika Padukone. It's about women being victims of acid throwing.
I heard about her, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet. But I'm always, you know what it is? I'm always torn, right? I'm always torn when I see the established Bollywood actresses who are gorgeous playing like these roles. What I guess you could argue that we do the same in Hollywood too, where there are a lot of beautiful actresses like Charlize Theron in Monster, really kind of, changed her look completely, gained a bunch of weight to play the role. But I'm always fascinated by, somebody beautiful like Deepa Padukone who changes her face to play an acid victim. So it's acid attack victim. Well, I feel like what she's done and what she's doing is great because you're bringing to the forefront so many major issues that are happening with women in your country, which I do definitely commend her for.
Yeah, I thought the same thing before I saw the movie. I thought it was a way for her to get more publicity and do a different style of acting than the normal Bollywood style. But then I saw it and it gave me goosebumps. It was really well done and it really brought to light that it's still happening. And at the end of the movie, it said like the last one that we're aware of was literally like a few weeks ago or in December. And it's still happening, and that's just the last one that was reported, but many go unreported, and it's like cheaper to buy acid than it is to buy like a soda in India. Like, that's how easily available it is.
I mean, let's talk about it. We're two South Asian women, right? I grew up in Pakistan partially till 15. You're born and raised in the U.S. You were earlier talking about your uncles, how they were upset because you were doing these calendars wearing lingerie and bathing suit. Like, to me, when I decipher all of this down, to me, it just kind of boils down to control, right? It's like saying that women are second-class citizens, that we are not owners of our own body and our own sexuality, that we consistently have to be told by our male counterparts how we should dress and behave and what we can or cannot do with our bodies. It really is appalling and it really pisses me off. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, it's like a very universal issue. So it's like not even just a South Asian thing. Like living in this country, we're letting white Anglo-Saxon Protestant men tell us what to do with their uteruses, and like the fact that that's happening, like, so it makes me feel
100%.
like it just being South Asian isn't a patriarchal society. We're in a patriarchal
Oh, it's a
country, right?
global issue.
So
That's
it's like,
the toxic patriarchy is a global issue for sure. I mean, did you know that 3 women every day in America die at the hand of their intimate partners every single day? It never makes the news, almost next to never. And then one penis gets chopped off because Lorena Bobbitt did it, and the world fucking comes to a screeching fucking halt. One dick versus all these women dying every single day. What the fuck?
true. And they say most rape cases happen with someone you know. So
100%. I mean, those are the more accessible ones, right? I mean, people who are, a lot easier to access. I just really hope that, all of it trickles down from the top, all of it, right? The governments, the countries, the nations, the South Asian nations and their leaders have to be the ones to step up and say the women in our society are not second-class citizens. They deserve as much love and protection and safety as the male counterparts do. The banning of acid is the number one key thing that needs to happen. Second, there needs to be laws, not just passed, but enforced to protect women if they're walking down the street. If you're walking down the street as a woman at 10 o'clock at night, like, you're not a whore or a slut for walking down the street. You're fucking walking down the street maybe because you work late, because you want to party, and also because it's your God-given right to be free. So you don't need a permission from a man to be like, I need to walk down the street. Or if I walk down the street at 10 p.m. at night and I get raped, then the side turns around, blames it on me, and calls me that it's my fault. Right?
like what happened to Jyoti Singh in New Delhi. She was gang raped. That was a horrible case.
Yeah.
But that happens constantly, and you don't hear about it.
I mean, Delhi is named the rape capital of India. It is also the capital of India. I was supposed to go and perform in India for Veer Das. Veer Das, who's the number one comedian in India. He does this pajama comedy festival, and he was kind enough to have me come on. And I started talking to my fellow Indian friends, comedian friends in Mumbai and Pune, and the number one thing they told me, they're like, if you go to Delhi, do not leave your hotel room after 9 p.m. I was like, why? They were like, it's really bad. Please don't go out. And I was really shocked to hear that. I mean, this is the capital of a country.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. But Melissa, this has been a lot of fun. We're gonna start wrapping up. So tell me, so now you're done traveling the world. What's next?
That's the $1 million question that I don't have an answer to yet. But all I know is I need some me time to mentally unpack everything and physically unpack, go through my millions of photos, and yeah, thankfully I've invested wisely in the stock market, so I have a little bit of a cushion to not work for a little bit while I get my life and thoughts together.
Awesome. I mean, or you could just also marry rich. That's
well, that would take. I need guys interested in me and asking for my number first.
Girl, you could have easily been like the third or the fourth wife in Saudi Arabia, and now you missed your chance.
Yeah, I might as well just move back to India and get in marriage.
You could. I mean, look, there's a lot of very well off dudes there, so you have an opportunity, so you can then both go traveling around the world second time.
Well, I am financially independent, so I don't need a dude to support me.
All right. I see you, Miss Independent. I see you. I just feel like it's so much better to spend somebody else's money than your own. That's just my philosophy.
That's funny.
I'm being silly. I'm totally being silly. Melissa, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing some of your personal stories. And I really hope to get to hang out with you. When are you coming back to LA?
Yeah, I definitely plan on moving back to LA within the next month or so. I've been offered a job.
Awesome.
Believe it or not, as a matchmaker.
As a matchmaker? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So I'm trying to decide if I want to accept it or not. Maybe it'll help me.
I think you should. Yes, you should. I think the first match you should be making is for yourself.
Aw.
That's what you should be doing. And once you do that, then you can hook this sister up right here.
Oh, so you're single too.
Ta-da! Welcome to the wonderful world of stand-up comedy, where loneliness is your best friend.
But there aren't too many women in stand-up comedy.
There are a lot of women in stand-up comedy. We just don't get the kind of coverage that the boys do. But that's okay. We're going to change that. That's changing. We're going to change that. Melissa, where can people find you? Can you share some of your social media with us?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is Mapped by Melissa. That's MAPPED by Melissa. And I just mainly use Facebook and Instagram. Twitter, not that much. But awesome. Facebook is also Mapped by Melissa.
Awesome. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. And that calls for the episode today. Thank you so much.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's our episode today. Thank you so very much. Don't forget to subscribe to our awesome podcast and our awesome digital series on YouTube. We are streaming on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining.